You mentioned a central repository for entitlements. Is this a potential game changer for IAM?
Business to application mapping of roles entitlements has always been another concern. But that, and again, going back to the answer I gave to the second question, right? Building a standard around entitlements, you can certainly build a standard around for industry what are business application roles and entitlements, right? From an organization point of view. But from an application point of view, it's hard to cap a standard where each application that services that industry at all, or because most of the applications are kind of cross industry, right? Um, becomes a challenge. Again, these are my opinions, and if anyone wants to disagree, please feel free to write your kind of understanding within the comment section. But so it becomes a conversation between you and ourselves, which is what we are looking for. But again, going back to the point, it, I mean, there's always been a case in point where for every organization you do business roles to application roles mapping, right? And some level of entitlements. Now, some of the bigger, larger systems or applications where the entitlement repository and roles have not changed much, or when they change, there's a way to understand, export them, and bring it to a centralized repository for performing that certification or attestation or regular checks of activities performed by those entitlements. But and I did touch on this point in the last question also, where I was talking about advanced application governance. That was more to do with these deep coarse grain entitlements within applications, right? So the problem again is the same. The number of applications and the problems those applications address would require for different roles and entitlements built for that application specifically. Now, can you then create a boundary, a standard boundary around all of those applications catering different use cases, different problem statements for different industry types, and come up with a central application specific role and entitlement framework? I don't think that's a possibility until you do come up with the framework first and then the applications start adopting to it. Then what happens to the legacy applications? We are trying for in the AI world, what we are trying to do is we are trying to do that from a policy point of view, where a number of regulations, industry specific or best practices that are unanimous in nature, how do those adapt to different specific so how can we come up with a standard kit bag of controls that can then be mapped back to each industry specific control? Similar mechanisms can probably be thought of in terms of business to application role mapping. But will the line ever disappear between the business application and application roles? I don't believe it would. So, building that centralized entitlement repository, while you can do it for an organization, but can that be made reusable? There's a lot to be done to reach that goal. Until we first start with an organization that puts forth some sort of a foundational business to application type entitlement mapping or role mapping, uh, um, it would be difficult for applications coming in the future to not have that standard.